Okay, for today's video, guys, I will be doing a dinner with me. Today's video, I'm gonna have dinner with you guys. Yes, I'm gonna have dinner with you guys. I'm so excited. So for this session, it's gonna be a little bit different because I'm gonna introduce my topics while I have dinner with you guys, right? But I'm not really gonna do full topics. What I'm actually gonna do is have dinner with you guys and just talk freely. Usually I would talk to you guys about a movie or something, but since we're gonna be eating for the whole hour, hold on, let me check what time it is. It's 6:41, so around 7:41 we should be done. So we're gonna be eating for 1 hour with me, and I'm gonna try to be calm and speak softly so that you guys could have a relaxed session for today. So for today, I want you guys to relax as usual. I want you guys to be as relaxed as possible, right? And I'm gonna go freehand, and I'll keep introducing topics as I keep going on along. Okay, so today's video is inspired by mukbang or mukbang, which is like something I kept seeing on YouTube, and I just wanted to emulate it for some reason, right? Because I was like, it's so interesting. But when I looked at what a mukbang was, I just kept seeing a whole bunch of stuff where it's like McDonald's food, and then I would see something where it's like hot Cheetos, wings, and it was like and when I look it up, it's like it's a whole plate of a lot of food. So it's a plate of a lot of food, and when I looked at it, at first I thought it was really interesting, but then as I kept looking at it, I started getting kind of sick because it was just a lot of food, and the way that people are eating, it's like a little stuffing their mouth, right? So while watching the mukbang, it's not all of them. Some of them are done very well. It's not like the food's not really done like fast food and wings and burgers all together. So when I looked up what a mukbang is, it's like a thing where you just have a lot of food and you're just eating one after the other, and I think you're supposed to finish the whole food. But after looking at it, it instead of making me feel inspired, I kind of started to get sick because I just kept seeing them eat their food and it wasn't appetizing, right? So then, instead of doing a mukbang or mukbang, we will be doing today a dinner with me, right? So for this session, we'll be doing a dinner with me, and I'll just be talking to you guys freely. And whether I finish this dinner or not is not the point, but I just want you guys to relax, and if you guys are having dinner too, that'd be great. Okay, so for my dinner, I did a mixture of stuff, right? Because what you must know is that the past few weeks, my dad has been buying hamburgers from me every night at this fast food joint. So every night I get like a hamburger and fries. And what actually happened is that I gained 20 pounds in the past month. And when I looked at the scale, which was really not very often, I've become less obsessed with the scale. What actually happened is I saw that I had gained about, I think 10 to 15, I think I had gained like 15 pounds. And I was like, I was so shocked. I was so unhappy. I told my dad never buy me that stuff again because it's my fault, right? Because it's like chicken sandwiches. Sometimes you get beef patty. Sometimes you would get different like hamburgers, type of patties, hamburger patties, and then he would either get a fry or something on the side, like a side, or like these potato wedges. But after that, I told him I don't want that type of food in the house, or if he gets it, get it only for himself. Because I'm like, 15 pounds in a month, that is just too much, right? So what I'm eating right now is seaweed. I bought it yesterday. So what I got is some seaweed, and I put some pretzels on the side. This is cucumber with mayo and salt, and I put some lemon, just some lemon in there. Okay, I put it here so you can see some lemon here. Okay, and so how you guys doing? How has your week been? And I also, for this mukbang, I heated some nachos. It's hot. And I have some small tomatoes that I sliced open, the grape tomato. And I have some corned beef hash. So right now I'm trying some corned beef hash with some tomatoes. These are nachos, which I heated up. And I got it from this brand called Socho, which I think is an Aztec brand. And it's like a vegan, like, is it like, it's like non-GMO, it's like a healthy brand, right? Socho. Okay, so then a topic that I want to get into is relaxation, right? I wanted to get into relaxation. So one thing about relaxation, especially while you're eating, is that Americans have something called SAD. SAD is something called Standard American Diet. Some pretzels. The Standard American Diet, right? Which is referred to as SAD. Because SAD is, would you say, when people buy fast food, they buy fast food, they buy greasy food, they buy food that has a ton of preservative, GMO, and laced with antibiotics, right? Right? Genetically modified foods. And this food is very unhealthy, right? And the thing about me is I love health food, right? But sometimes I fall off the bandwagon because, you know, sometimes health food, especially by some people, like, for instance, when you look on Instagram, right, a lot of like vegan and very healthy vegetable, like people that are vegetarian, they shame you for missing the mark, right? And I know some of them, they do it perfectly well, right? But I know for me, and I know for a lot of people, they're just not there yet, right? And for example, I'm not there yet. This is seaweed. I'm not there yet. Whenever I start eating clean, and I have heard that eating clean could give you eating disorders, right? When you eat clean sometimes, it really, it hurts you in a way because it's like you have nothing to look forward to, right? And so down in the description below, I'm gonna give you some list of a list of things that have inspired me. Some of them are stricter than others, some are not, but each one you could gather information for them. For example, there's one of them, and he's this guy. He talks about how when people keep saying that food has to be healthy all the time, it's really discouraging. And what I have to say is, when your food doesn't taste good, I mean, the food, just because food is healthy doesn't mean it can't taste good, right? That's why when people retire and then they go into retirement homes and they can't eat food with salt, they can't eat too much sugar, and they have to have their food go through like blender, they die really early. And it's because they lose their appetite, they lose like their reason for living. Because let's face it, especially for Americans, what is actually going on with Americans is they love food, right? For example, if you pass by a Starbucks, and American advertisement knows this a lot, right? They love food. So what American advertisement will do is they'll do things like, if it's Starbucks, for example, and I don't really go to Starbucks because Starbucks is kind of expensive, and I kind of like making my own coffee. And I try kind of drink coffee once a week because it tastes good, but coffee is like, it's very stimulating, right? I like tea a lot more. By the way, I made some tea, some black tea. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the tea bag out. Okay, this is actually very good. So I put the and I also have some iced tea also. So along with my warm tea, I have some fresh tea. Like, iced tea is fine, but usually I like it just fresh, not with a lot of ice, because it melted. Because I did this prepare this food a while ago, so the food is mostly cold and not as hot as it's supposed to be, because I did this a while ago while preparing for the video. Okay, so then, and I also have some water. So then let's go into a few things about me, right? Let's go into a few topics about me. Because, you know, I love things to do with health and wellness. And I love things to do with health and wellness. I love things to do with yoga. Like today I had a yoga session and I wanted to do a private session, but then I decided for me I might do the class, because I think it would be more beneficial if I was like not the focal point of the yoga session. Like there's some things where you could do private and where you could do class. So I was like, maybe class would be better than just doing it private, because private, it's like maybe I could do that once a month, and then class like towards more like maybe 1 to 2 times a week to get the relaxation in. So I love yoga, right? So when I was in high school, well, I had yoga class, and that's how I grew to love it. I had Miss Fitz yoga class. I went to Claremont High School, and I went to Miss Fitzgerald, I think her name was. Her yoga class, and it was so relaxing, and it made me into like a yogini or something, like somebody that loves yoga, right? Anyway, while at Clara Barton, I actually hated gym, right? I hated gym with a passion, right? I hated gym. And I hated gym so much that every year there was only one thing I liked, which was to do badminton. But badminton came along with tennis, and sometimes if yoga was available, I'd do yoga, right? But I hated gym. And anytime I got gym, I would always keep gravitating towards badminton and the one that had badminton and baseball, because that's the only one that I liked, right? And then there was one was called, what was it, calisthenics? I think the one where you have to keep with all the barbells, dumbbells, the weights. And I was scared to go into that class. I was scared to go into that class because I was like, you know, I was so scared to go into that class because it's like I did not want to just do it because I was scared, you know. I didn't know what it was entailed, but this is why you're never supposed to knock something until you try it. That's my sister. Hey, hey, girl, how you doing? Hey. Oh, I'm sorry. How you doing? Where are you? I didn't say that. He said that. Alright, bye. Okay, see ya. Okay, so that's my sister. And so then what was that? So I was talking about calisthenics, right? So what I'm eating now is some Italian bread with what you call that? Olive oil and salt, right? So I had this teacher at Club Barton, Miss Matola. I think her name was, she's like my biology teacher. And Miss Matola told me that Italian people like to put what you call it? They like to put olive oil and salt on their bread. And she said it tasted good. So at first I was like, olive oil and bread, who does that, right? But then just a while ago I started to do it, and I like to put salt in it. But when you do it, at first you might not like it, right? Because olive oil, it kind of have this medicine type of taste. But when you add the salt, it's very delicious, you know? It's very good. So to go back to what I was saying, I was so afraid of doing calisthenics, right? I was so afraid of doing calisthenics that I just kept avoiding the class. And in the final semester, it was between badminton or calisthenics, and it was always the same teacher for each. One was Mr. Bladell and the other was this other teacher. And so because I was scared of that class, I chose badminton again. But for some reason, Mr. Bladell told me to go and visit I think it was it Mr. Bladell? So Mr. Bladell, he told me to take a note. He told me to take a note into to the calisthenic teacher, right? And I told you I got the surprise of my life when I saw what calisthenics was all about, right? So one of my friend, my classmates, she was in the calisthenics class, and what I saw them doing is that they were just basically sitting around reading a book. They were exercising at their own pace while listening to music on their headphones, and they had music from Z100 playing, and the teacher was like, "Oh, this is free period," and I looked at the teacher, and I was like, "Is this how it's always been?" I said, "Yeah, it's for the most part, yeah." I just let them do whatever they want. They could relax, read a book, meditate, do what they want, do the dumbbell every once in a while, and that's it. You know how upset I was that was the class? And I skipped that class 4 years in a row because I was afraid to try calisthenics, right? So that class taught me never, when you're afraid to do something, at least check it out, right? And I went to my friend, my classmate, and she was like, I was like, do you guys always, is this how it is always is? And she was like, yeah, this is what it is. You just meditate, we listen to Z100. Sometimes we play and we talk, and it was like my dream. And I skipped that class that final semester. If I tell you I was disappointed and I was really pissed off, that's an understatement, right? Because I was pissed off, right? Because I skipped that class for 4 years in a row, each quarter and semester, because I was afraid of that class, right? So the final semester, when I could have chosen that class, which was my dream, of doing whatever you wanted at your own time, at your own pace, you could play with the dumbbells when you wanted to and read at your leisure. I was pissed, right? I was pissed. So then that taught me something, right? That taught me to give things a chance, even though you might not like it, right? Because you might actually like it, right? So now we're gonna go off on a tangent, right? So while I was at my college, at Hunter, because of what I learned from that calisthenics class, I decided to do a whole host of dance class electives, right? Because I was like, when you're afraid of doing something, you go in and do it anyway, right? You go in and you do it anyway. So then, one of the classes I did was ballet class, right? And that's one of them that showed me that when you don't like to, when you think you like to do something, go for it, because you might see it's not something that you like. Or if you think you don't want to do something, go for it anyway, because you might actually really like it, because it might actually be a surprise, right? So then the first thing I'm gonna go is the first one is I always wanted to do ballet, right? Because you hear about the thing with the Nutcracker and Tchaikovsky and Swan Lake, and you think, oh my god, ballet, it's so easy, So I went to that class, and my mentality was that I'm gonna go into ballet class and this is gonna be fun, easy peasy, and so it's gonna be a piece of cake, right? And this is iced tea, sweet tea. So I went thinking it's gonna be a piece of cake. Boy, was I wrong. It was not a piece of cake. So the first week, the first thing you have to know about ballet is that ballet has a lot of positions, right? And one thing about me is, although I like to dance, I do not know how to dance organized dancing, right? I have 2 left feet when there's instructions involved, right? So basically things like African dancing, swaying, guying, like whining, guyad, it means a whining, or things like when you're doing your hips and stuff, you're doing things with African, like and dombolo. Like I'm really good with that, right? Because you feel the music, right? But anything where it has to do with organization and steps, that's not my forte, right? So I went into that class thinking it was gonna be a piece of cake, and boy was I wrong, right? I was so wrong. What ended up happening is that the first week, blood clots started to form in my legs, right? And when I say blood clots, I mean like cramps. My legs would start to seize over, because in ballet you have a lot of plie. You have to lift your legs on the bar. You have a lot of leg work. Let me tell you, I've done boxing before. I've done boxing. I've done kickboxing. I've done training. I've done things that were much harder, burpees and beer crawls, that are military movements. Nothing was as hard as that ballet class was to me. First of all, every night, what would happen is my legs would begin to seize, which means they would just start cramping and it would just lock in one position. And when I went to the ballet teacher, what she told me is that you have to stretch like for a while, and you have to ice your feet, because the one thing is my feet will hurt a lot, right? Because you're doing a lot of feet work. And then there's a point where you're doing that thing with the plies, that sweat starts to come out of your calves, right? Okay, I've done a lot of stuff, but sweat has never come out of my calves, my thighs, my inner thighs, straight from my thighs. I've never seen that happen. And she explained that to me, it's because you're working the legs and you're strengthening the legs, and that's why you're getting the clots, right? So eventually, after a few weeks, I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 weeks, I quit the class. I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't do it. Like, it was really hard. Not only that, it's just, I would just keep getting cramps. And at first, I thought I could handle it. But then after a while, it just got too much. And the teacher was like, I understand, you know. The other students, they have years of like, they're doing that. And that's why you think it's easy. It's because they make it look easy, right? So when I went to ballet, I found out I didn't like it. I don't like it at all. And the reason it looked easy is because those people, they practice, they ice their legs, they stretch for like a long time. And that's why it looks so easy. It is not easy. It looks easy because of what they're like, how much practice they're putting into it, right? So it gave me a newfound respect for people that did ballet that I didn't have. So then the next thing that I want to say to the aspect of if you don't like something, like if you don't like something, you should try it anyway. You might find out you like it. Is when I went to my first class, Art 101. Now what happened with that class is that at first I thought I liked sketching over abstract art. What actually ended up happening is that I actually prefer abstract art to sketching. And the reason is sketching has to do with, okay, you have to make sure everything is in the line. You have to make sure the colors. For me, I like to make sure everything is done well. Like when you're doing the portrait, you get the lines. I don't like to do things that is like outside, and I like to make sure the portrait looks like the person. And the still life too. But when you do an abstract art, it's all about self-expression, you know? And I found out that surprisingly, I like abstract art over sketching any day, right? Because sketching is like you do mindless work. You're just mindlessly sketching. You're not thinking. But abstract art is like what you want to compose, you know? What you want to think about, right? What are you thinking about? What do you want to create? What energy or what are you trying to express? What are you trying to, for example, they would give you like an assignment, okay? What are you thinking about, right? And they'll say, okay, do something from your childhood and like tie it in. They give you a subject and then you have to find things. So sculpture was not really about making sculpture out of stone. It was more like, okay, you found this thing and then you found this flower, you found this thing, you put it together, you make like a creative sculpture out of found objects, right? And it was so interesting. I even told the teacher, I was like, I love sculpt. I love it because it's like they're telling you, okay, do something that shows you anger, or do something that has to do with I don't know, mass. Okay, that was one project we had, math. So then you guys, back to what I was saying. Okay, what was I telling you guys? So okay, I found out that I liked abstract art over fine art, which is more like sketching, drawing, painting, right? And it had to do with the fact that you get to express yourself. You get to express yourself more with abstract art. They give you a subject and you just make stuff out of what you like. How are you guys with math, right? Because I remember when I was in doing stat, I was doing nursing. And the thing about nursing is you had to do statistics you have to do a statistic in order to get into that program. It has a bunch of prerequisites. So then in order to do the prerequisites, you have to, there's a whole bunch of unnecessary prerequisites, which is one thing I hated about the nursing program, right? You had a whole bunch of prerequisites, and you didn't know why you had to do those things, and what did they have to do with nursing, right? So then one thing I had to do is I had to do a math class called Stat 113. And Stat 113 is like statistics, and what you have to do is in it you doing graphing, and it has a lot of word problems in it, and it has stuff to do with probability. Statistics is one of the worst, one of the subjects I really did not like, right? So the first time I went to statistics, I failed it miserably. I got an F. So the second time I went, I failed the F again. The third time, by the third time I was desperate, right? So I said to myself, I don't know, you can't fail the third time, right? You have to at least try. Because every time I would see the statistic book, what I would do is I would basically take the book and just look at it and close it and just take the book and throw it. Like, I would just take it and just like throw it away from me, because I just didn't want to look at the book, right? Because the book, it would give me PTSD, right? Because I hated math in high school, right? Actually, I did not hate math, right? I actually really like algebra. I kind of like trigonometry, but I hated geometry with my whole life, right? I hated that class, right? And it had to do because of I just couldn't understand what the reason. And I know it wasn't hard, but there's sometimes you're looking at math, and because you don't want to look at it, you'll take whatever the book is, you won't even read it, right? So then one day, after the two times I failed it, because I didn't even look at the book, I just took the book, closed it, and I threw the book on the floor. I took the book and I just threw it away from me, because I just couldn't look at it, right? So by the third time, I said, you can't fail it again, you know? You failed it 2 times before, you have to at least try it. So then I said to myself, and the test, I had failed the first test, I got an F. And the second test, I think I got a D. So what I did is, what did I do? So I went to the library, right? Because this time I was determined to pass that class. And what I did is I said, I'm gonna get an ABC 1, 2, 3 dummy book, right? Like a child's book. And I said, today I'm gonna find out why this course is hard for me, right? Because I need to know why I cannot pass this class, right? And the reason was because I was lazy. I wouldn't read the book, and every time I look at the book, I just did not want to look at the book, right? So then when I read the 1, 2, 3 book, for every step that a normal class would have, it had 30 steps, right? So the book was like this. If something had 1 step, like a college book had 1 step, this was like a baby book, right? So it would say A. For part 1, it would say A, plug in A to B. Second portion of the first step, it gives like 25 steps for one step of a normal college book, right? So when I actually understood what I kept failing at, I was like, it's that easy. It is that easy. It was so easy because the book made it easy, right? So one thing I want to tell you guys is sometimes you are afraid to tackle a subject, and because you think you can't conquer the subject. And I failed it miserably the first 2 times because I just couldn't look at the book, right? I couldn't look at the board. I just did not want to look at it, right? I hate word problems. I hate word problems. I hate words in math. I hate equations, and I don't like when math has word problems, right? It scares me and I don't want to deal with it, right? So then what ended up happening is after I looked at that book, and I just kept looking, because the book made it look so easy. I was like, I can't believe I felt two times this thing when it was that easy. So then I ended up getting like a 100 in the final exam. I got a 98 and I only missed 2 points because he said something was gonna be on the final exam, but it ended up not being there. So then that's how come I didn't get that the perfect score. But I ended up getting like a B+ for the whole class, and I would have got A if I had done what I had done from the beginning, right? So that taught me a big lesson, right? Just because you're afraid to tackle a subject, Or if you think you not don't like something, try it out, you know. Sometimes the things I think I'm not gonna, I actually end up liking it. And some things I think I like, because I tried it, I say, okay, I don't like it. So now I know I don't like it, right? So if you have a hard time making a decision, it's because you're afraid to put your foot in the water, right? And the thing I was thankful about that calisthenic class did to me, it showed me that if you don't step out and do something, you might find out you actually could have liked it. But because you were too afraid to try it, you're gonna miss out on something you might have actually been the perfect thing for you. So then that's what I learned, right? So then I have a few more, like 20 more minutes with you guys, right? Okay, so on YouTube, there's this channel I've been following, right? And the person introduced something called a goddess bath, right? A goddess bath. So the goddess bath is something where you have rose petals, and they have a bunch of, some people, this woman, I will put her link down below so you will know what ingredients she used. She used like salts, rose petals, what you call it, a whole bunch of stuff. And what she's doing is she's like, it's a goddess bath, right? So that it could just, because me, I'm really a shower person, right? I don't really like baths, right? I like showers because showers, they're activating, they wake you up, they make you reinvigorated, right? And I know some people, they're like, oh, I know a lot of people like showers because, you know, we live in a fast-paced society that shows you, okay, you have to be on the go. But let me tell you, even though I like showers, I like long showers, right? I am notorious for doing long showers, right? Long showers. Sometimes my sister and my dad be like, man, why are you in there for so, like, sometimes I'm like, man, why are you, like, what are you doing, right? And the thing is, when the lady said that thing about the bath, I was like, even though I'm not really a bath person, because the bath, I feel, is like if you want to relax and wind down. I like the shower because it's more like you just active, you standing, and it's like it feels more refreshing and rejuvenating, right? So she's like, okay, try the bath. So one day I tried the bath, and I was like, whoa, I learned something new. It's like you learn something new every single day. At first I thought I was not gonna like it, right? Because I was like, man, all you're doing is sitting there. But she's like, that's what's wrong with the society. All you think is you're doing when you're relaxing is you think you're sitting there. But when you're relaxing, when you're rejuvenating, when you're sitting back and having an hour-long dinner, right? It's not for naught, right? You're not doing these things just because, okay, I know there's a lot of things people say. It's like, oh, you're wasting time. Why are you wasting time with an hour-long dinner? Why are you doing an hour-long shower? Why are you doing an hour-long bath? Why are you doing a bath? Why are you staying in the bath for 2 hours? Why are you sleeping for 10 hours, 8 hours, getting relaxation? Why are you going at the spa? Why are you doing that, right? But you know, a lot of people think when you're resting, it's like you're wasting time. You're not wasting time, right? Think about it. When you're resting, you're rejuvenating. That's one thing you're doing. You're relaxing, you're recharging, you're getting more invigorated, you're getting your energy back, right? So something where you're getting your energy back, it's not something that is for naught. It's giving you energy, it's refreshing you. Like, I know sometimes when I don't get like relaxation, it makes me snappy, right? I get snappy, although that's not something, like, I'm not really snappy. I'm more calm, I'm more relaxed. Most of the time I'm a relaxed person. But when just like anybody, if you put somebody and you make them work for 24 hours in a day, they never sit down, they're always cooking, yeah, they're gonna get snappy because they're not relaxed. They never relax, they never rejuvenated, right? So when you're sleeping for 7 hours or 9 hours, right? Or if it's like a week, you get 10 hours, because sleep is very good for your body, right? It relaxes your body, it rejuvenates the body, it repairs the cells. Like, I know when I get like a full night's rest, people will be like, oh, you look so much younger. but I am notorious for like 4 hours, and then I was like, you know, that's not healthy. Not only is your cortisol getting up, it's making you fat, bigger, fat, and diabetic, because it's making you insulin resistant. Because what's happening when you don't sleep is that when you're sleeping, what's happening is your body is regulating hormones. Not only is it regulating hormones, it's giving you rest. Like what you like, your subconscious is working, you're dreaming, your body's going to repair state. It's taking in, like your body is repairing. Like if you don't sleep, you are not healthy, because you're not doing what your body's meant to do. Your body is not meant to be awake 24/7. Like even when you miss a few hours, you're off because you're not getting adequate rest, right? So sleep hygiene is something that's very important, and it's something that's extremely important. The rest and relaxation, rejuvenation. Like me, I like working. Oh yeah, I'm a more relaxed worker. I think working is good, right? For instance, when I turn 65, I don't think I would like retire fully. I think I would do part-time work. Like right now I work like 25 to 30 hours a week, and that's because I'm going to school full-time. I'm doing 6 courses at UniMech, and it's like 3 credits for each, so that's a lot of coursework. So that's why I have 25 hours a week. I try not to do over 25 because it's extremely stressful when you have that many courses and you're thinking about not only going outside, but you have to do everything else, and you're not relaxing because you can't focus on anything because you have so much stress and you have so much on your plate. And so the thing is, I decided that because I'm doing coursework, and I believe once I finish with everything, I don't want to work more than 25-30 hours a week, right? I want to relax. I don't want to be working like 40 to 50, 60. Like I don't know how people work 80 hours a week and they just don't fall over dead. Like how do people just work at themselves into the, like I know, like if you do 80 hours a week or 60, 70 hours a week, the first year you might not feel it, right? But there's a toll it begins to take on you, on your psyche, on your body, on yourself, when all you're doing is working every single day. And no, not working, but you're working like I used to work 12-hour 60-day shifts sometimes, and it's because I had less schoolwork. I had like 4 courses, so I was like, okay, let me take advantage of that, right? Okay, that's not something you should do, right? Because you run yourself into the ground. Like if you can help it, and you could just do things on the side, like hobbies, like and try to get work with Amazon marketing while you're doing it under 25 hours, I would suggest that, right? And although I'm a big advocate for like 25 to 30 to 20 hours a week, if you could help it, like I know some people, they can't do that. They have to work like 100 hours a week because they can't afford it. That's how it works. They can't afford to do any less, and I understand that, right? But if you're doing 80 to 60 hours a week, then you have to prioritize rest, sleep, and leisure, right? Because your body is breaking down as you're doing all that stuff, right? And you could see, and I'm speaking from experience, right? Because I used to work long, hard shifts, like 12-hour shifts, 5 days a week, with like no rest in between, and I felt miserable, right? And it was like really hard work where you have to be on your toes and you are waking up at 5. It's really stressful, right? So when I'm telling you that this type of work, if you can help it, not to do it, I'm speaking from experience, right? Because I thought it would be better to keep getting money and stuff. But you know, money is good, but you have to make sure you don't work yourself into the ground so that you're compensating later on for what you did to your body in the beginning, right? So then, or else. So one thing I do believe is that after retirement age, I'm gonna be working until I die, right? Because I like working, because it gives you a purpose to wake up in the morning, right? Like I hate when I wake up and I'm aimless because I have nowhere to go. Like I know you could go and do brunch and stuff, but work, you have to go to work, right? You could cancel brunch any single day, but when you're working, you can't say it unless you call out. Like I'm a person, I'm a very, okay, I may be late when I go to work, right? And sometimes came back I say, which means I could be late as possible and my heart's not broken and I'm just strolling while I'm walking there, because I'm not gonna get kicked by a bus for nobody, right? But still, I'm a person, unless I have to, I'm not gonna miss work. I'm not somebody that's gonna miss work unless I'm sick or like I have like a cold and I'm gonna infect the person. Like if I don't have a cold, which is not often, like I have a pretty hardy body that way. I don't get flus like that, right? Because I like teas and stuff. Like I'm not gonna just cancel out on work. Like I don't believe, I have, for the most part, even though I'm mostly late to work, which is something I have to work on, I have a good work ethic where I'm not just always calling out unless I have something where I have the flu and I have to call out because I'm gonna make the person sick, right? Like I don't believe that you have work, you're calling out 3 times every week. Like for example, when I was in school, in Mech, whichever one, Clara, Hunter, I would never be absent, right? You can say I'm late as you want. Absence is not something I have a problem with, right? In fact, in Claiborne, I got like 3 attendance award, and one year I didn't get the attendance award because I had to go to like a school meeting, and that's the reason I didn't get the attendance award, because I had to go to college and do like a pre-examination test, right? If it wasn't for that, I would have gotten the attendance award, right? So missing classes and just not appearing for classes and going to the class whenever you feel like, that's not something I have a problem with, right? I'm not lackluster in that way, but one thing I do have is I do be strolling it late a little bit, right? Because I'm not gonna get killed by no bus for nobody, right? Like better late than dead, you know? But still, like purposefully missing class when you can go, that doesn't make any sense to me, because you're paying for the class, number one. You're paying for the class, number one. And number two, not only are you paying for the class, it's your money that you're wasting, right? But one thing I have to say is I'm kind of bad for this. And sometimes I don't study, I get F's and stuff, which it fits the whole purpose, right? But I'm not gonna miss class, right? Because it's like you paying for a class, you're not attending the class. Like why are you going to, why would you're paying harder? Even if it was like high school, which is free public high school, I still would not miss class, right? And you know, if it's math class, you miss that day, you miss a whole lesson of class, you're gonna be lost the whole day, the whole week. Because it's like they be packing the lessons into you're wondering, oh, what did we do, I hate stuff like that, right? So that's one thing I never like doing, is missing class if I could help it, right? If I could help it. Like I was an attendance nerd, right? I was an attendance nerd. So what's one thing else? One other thing is, as I told you guys, I love English in high school. Like I remember Miss Smith's class, I loved her class. And who else? There's a whole bunch of teachers that love their class in Claiborne. Because I remember I would look forward to that class so much. Because you know how when you're in a class and the teacher makes it so exciting. One thing I love about high school and college and Mech and Hunter and all these classes is that some teachers, they don't know how to inspire you, because they just, I remember that English class. Every lesson she would have a cute little thing she would do to tie into the lesson. Like when I was in 6th grade, like I remember I had this teacher, like 6th grade teacher, and she would read Harry Potter to us. And at first we were like, nobody wants to read Harry Potter. We're 12 years old, right? We're too old for that, right? We're 12. Harry Potter is just uncool, right? Nobody wants to look at Harry Potter, right? And I remember she read that book. By the 3rd class, we did not want to stop. We were obsessed with Harry Potter. You know how a teacher make you want to go to class? English was that class for me, and a whole bunch of them, right? Some people, when they act like some teachers, they come and they just give you pamphlets and they don't put no effort into the class. They don't realize the disservice that they're doing. But luckily, the thing I like about Claire Barton, Edgar, and Hunter with the teachers, even though I don't like the administration that much at all at Hunter, is that the teachers, they're so fresh faced. They love what they do. So when they love what they do, it's like you love what they do because they make you want to learn what they're doing, right? They have a passion for it, so they infect you with the same passion that they have, you know. I remember when I would just always look forward to that English class, because it was like you didn't know what she was gonna plan for that day. One day it was like a little thing where we would do like little, she would just have little lesson plans. She would have to do a little culture thing. One time we danced. I mean, some teachers, they make you want to go to class because they really care, you know. And some, they just don't care, and you know, because they don't care, and they wonder why the students don't care. It's because they don't care, you know. So if you go to class and you don't care, why would your students care? You don't care. But I tell you, that English teacher, Miss Smith, yeah, Miss Smith, she would just go above and beyond. Like, sometimes I would just look forward, like, there's some classes, you know what those classes were. You would look forward to it because the teacher was funny. I had a bunch of those classes. I can't remember right about the topic. There was Miss Bouncy. There's a whole bunch of them. Whereas like the teacher, they basically, the night before, it's like they're planning like, okay, let me do a theatrics team. It's like they make you want to go to school, right? And that's a knack when you're doing things with teaching, because it's like a gifting, right? Some people, you go to the class, it's like you don't even want to go to school no more because they just make you not interested in nothing that they do, you know. And some people, you go to their thing and they make you so interested because they just love what they do, you know. Yeah, they just love what they do. So then, you guys, okay, I'm just gonna keep talking to you guys, right? This is corned beef hash with some tomatoes. And I was saying before from the beginning. Oh, by the way, I know what I'm going to talk to you guys about now. Like, my dad, right, is a hoarder, right? He's gotten better over the years, but he is such a hoarder, right? Like, I remember, like, sometimes you see I have stuff in my videos. Even though I hate that he's a hoarder, I have knickknacks. You'll see me bring up with things that have everything to do with my videos because he's a hoarder. Like, sometimes, I remember one time my mom would do some things where she would take his closet and she would take bags and bags, she just throw the things out, right? Because my dad likes to collect things. And I remember one time, my dad is such a hoarder that for my junior high school prom, a few days before the prom, he found a dress in the flea market, right? He found this black dress and it ended up being the dress that I wore for the prom. Sometimes people buying something, I'm like, what is the use for this, right? And it ended up being very useful, right? Because it was just a really nice dress and stuff. And then sometimes he'd be doing something, I'm like, man, why do I need a yo-yo for, right? And he loves to collect dishes and stuff, and lamps and paintings. And sometimes he just be hitting the mark where I'm like, man, this is actually really nice. Like, he be doing, like, getting some stuff, I'm like, oh my god, I actually really like this, right? I actually really like this. And it's because he likes to collect random things, right? So then, okay, so then that's it, you know. That's it. Yeah, so my dad's a hoarder, right? The other day, he went to the fish market and he just bought like 12 dozen fish, 2 dozen fish. And to prove to me that he hates me, he asked me to cook 12 fish the other day, right? Actually, I'm just kidding. He asked me to cook 12 fish, 12 a dozen fish. So after, like, cause you know, I had to deep fry the fish. I seasoned it, deep fried it, and then it took me like hours to finish doing it, right? It took me hours, like 5, 6, 7 hours to do it, because you know, you have to make sure the oil is on medium heat, that it's at high heat, and that it's really at an incinerating boiling mode, right? So that the fish will fry evenly. You don't want it to be too hot or too little, or else it will be mushy. You don't want it too hot where it burns over burns, but you just want it to be just right, right? So he bought 2 dozen fish. and he asked me to do it. And actually, I know I was just kidding what I said before. He actually, my dad's a very laid back person. Like, he usually doesn't ask for much, you know. So when he asked me to do the fish for him, I was like, okay. I was obliged, because he usually doesn't ask me to do anything for him. He's a very relaxed, laid back person. So because of that, I was like, you know what, do it anyway, because he never asks you to do anything, right? And whenever I cook, he usually just eats whatever I cook. It's always been that way, right? Like, I remember when I was younger, my dad would be like, you guys, what are you making, right? Like, we would make like sandwiches. We would make like cheese sandwiches, hot dog sandwiches, boiled egg, and he would eat, the thing would be disgusting, and he would eat he would eat it, and he would be like, oh my god, this is delicious, right? And I know it was disgusting, right? But he would eat it anyway, right? So my dad's very, he eats it, he's not like picky about food, right? Anyway, I really enjoyed this dinner with you guys. Till next time.